Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to be making some juniper vinegar and some other this and that. So let's get started. Now, even though this is a this and that video, I decided I'd go ahead and show you making the vinegar. And even though I have tons of other vinegar videos out there, which I can link to my cedar one right up here. This is going to be very similar, but there are some slight differences between using juniper or cedar than just doing the regular fruit type vinegars, and that is you're going to want to add a lot more sugar to it to get a good result. Now, I'm not trimming all of the stems off, just the big thick ones. There's a lot more here than I need. I was pruning my juniper up, so I just grabbed a bunch and brought them in with me, sprayed them down with some other homemade vinegar, and then rinsed them off. But I am going to, in this one, do something I don't normally do with my vinegars, but isn't a bad idea. It's just rare that I find a need for it. Okay, so now you can see how full that is. I like to get it pretty full. Set this aside. And I'm going to go ahead and take one of my last vinegars and shake that mother up that's at the bottom. That little, you'll see a layer at the bottom of your vinegar. I'm going to shake that all in there real good. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of this. This is just to ensure that I get a good vinegar going out of this. And then you're definitely going to want to use at least, I would say at least a half cup of sugar. So we're going to do that. Put that in there. And then add my filtered water. I use filtered rainwater. We filter with a Berkey. We have our own little setup. And yes, I'm sorry people keep asking if I've done a video. We do show a little bit of it in our preparedness video about water, but eventually we'll do a separate video. I'll go ahead and link to that video up here, by the way. Eventually we'll do a separate video just showing our setup. It's just we have so much stuff going on, sometimes it's hard to remember all these different videos, such as the colloidal silver one we keep talking about. Okay, and then I just kind of stir it up. You could put a tight lid on it and shake it. That might be the easiest thing to do with something like this. I just try to kind of mix it in there, making sure that sugar gets in there. But the sugar is going to dissolve anyway on its own, and the vinegar will feed on that sugar. So you want, because there's pretty much no sugar in your juniper or cedar or whatever it is you choose to use, you want quite a bit of sugar in there to get a good vinegar. Now, people are always asking me what I use my vinegars for. This will be one that will be more for cleaning, whether it be for washing my hair, cleaning windows. This is not one that I would typically gonna want to use for cooking with. However, I have eaten juniper tips before and I think they taste kind of good. But it is one of those things, it does have medicinal purposes. Mostly people will use the berries, but still you have to be a little bit careful. You don't want to overdo it. It can be very detoxifying to the kidneys and the bladder, but it can also irritate the bladder if you get too much, because it's got very strong diuretic properties, so you got to be real careful with something like that. So then all I got to do is cover it with a cloth, and I'm going to let it sit. I've moved all my vinegars into the other room now, so you don't see them all piled up here, because I'm going to be getting more. Right now I've got 4 in there. I've got 2 or 3 up on the fridge, and I'll be making more, so eventually I might have 8 to 10 sitting in there. So that's what I'm doing now, and I'm going to try to stir them up as much as possible, because I'm just really liking the results I'm getting by stirring. Okay, so I just want to make sure that it can breathe really well. That's really important. I did mention before about the coffee filters in my last vinegar making video, which I'll link to right up here. If you decide to use coffee filters, then I suggest going with the non-bleached variety. Go with the more natural ones. Though I still think going with a good cotton cloth is the best way to go, because you can just keep washing it and reusing it, and you're not wasting coffee filters. If you just bought a little chunk of fabric, just a quarter of a yard, you would have enough to cover several jars. Just use some pinking shears or even just rip it. It's no big deal. It's going to last you for a very long time, and you're going to save a lot of money using the cloth, and they look nicer too over the over the coffee filters. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I got another one of these craft lids that came off of a candle, and these rustic lids I like to use so much, and I'm going to show you what I do to treat them to make them more food safe. Now, these ones I always get on the candles I buy from a local lady that makes them by hand. But I will link below to the ones that you can buy on Amazon. And there's a few different colors. There's one that's an oiled one, like a black oil something. Anyway, it looks really pretty. I really like that one. So I'll link to that, but you'll be able to look at the other ones they have. They have one that looks a lot like the zinc lids that they used to use on the canning jars. And you might be interested in those. Now, I will see if I can also find, I can't remember if I linked to it in the last video. Hopefully I'll remember to do it here. The liners that you can buy to put in here, but to me this is going to be the least expensive and healthier, safest way to do it. So what I have over here is a little can of Mr. Rain's beeswax coconut oil blend, which we're now selling on our Etsy store for treating your wood products like your cutting boards and your rolling pins, your pasta drying racks. And he always treats that stuff before he puts it up on the store anyway. But then if you want to keep up on your treatment, then you can just do that. So I'm just dipping this pastry brush, which is dedicated for this kind of thing, into this treatment. And what I've done before is just use plain beeswax. But I decided I really wanted to do this mixture of coconut oil and beeswax. So you can see over here, I have the little tin sitting right on my hot plate on low, and it's heated all the way through, and I'm just painting it on there. And then you're going to want to let it cool. Actually, what I recommend is you get a jar. Let me grab this jar right here. And while it's still kind of warm, go ahead and put it on there just to kind of make sure that it the wax and stuff will form around that, but then don't leave it on for very long. Take it off and let it finish cooling. Okay, and that's going to help get a better form, so when you go to put it on, you want it really lightly around these edges. You don't even really have to do this part. I mostly recommend that you do this part. This is the part that the food's exposed to. But I think it's a good idea to go ahead and put it on the inside edges as long as it's very thin. Okay, and that's just going to give it a nice protective layer to make it food safe, because these really are craft lids, but they look so nice. I love the way they look sitting on my counter. And then I have the wide mouth ones back there on my tea herbs, and I will also link to those ones below. And that is why we put these in these tins, so that you can set it right on your wood stove, or even on a trivet on the wood stove if the wood stove's burning really hot, or in a low heat on your conventional stove. You let it melt, and then you can put it on with either a paper towel or some other dedicated cloth, or what I would prefer is the pastry brush for doing the lid. But same thing with your wood products. Just take like a paper towel or a dedicated cloth and just rub it into your wood really good. And it also is helpful, especially with your wood products, if you make sure that they're gently heated as well. So you can have the wood product close to a heat source like your wood stove or whatever. And Mr. Rain did do a video on treating those, and I'll go ahead and link to that right up here instead of trying to explain it all. These are the ones we're actually sold out right now of the orange. Right now we have lime and lemon, so it's just coconut oil, beeswax. It's all natural with a little bit of essential oils in each one. So this is a lemon essential oil, lime essential oil, and then the other one is orange. And it doesn't add a real strong flavor or scent. It's just a little bit of extra in there that will also help kill any bacteria and stuff, especially on your cutting boards and things like that. But coconut oil does an excellent job of that, of keeping bacteria, fungus, and all that, any kind of viruses, you know, at bay. And then some other things I have going on. I need, again, to make another batch of my jet fueled latte, and I will go ahead and link to that recipe right up here if you're interested and you're new to my channel. You might want to give it a try. This is our coffee replacement. In fact, just recently Mr. Rain has stopped drinking coffee and gone with just this in the morning, just like I do. I just have a cup of this and it's plenty. It gives us a good energy boost, helps us get through the day, but it's not so much about the energy boost for me. It's about the ashwagandha and the maca root and all that good stuff it does to the body and to help our thyroid. So, and then I'm going to also make, look at this huge, I found out that I can get my favorite peppermint oil now, and it is pure. I was worried that maybe it would be diluted in such a big bottle, but I did pay more for it. But in the long run, it's a better price buying the 16-ounce bottle like this. So I'll go ahead and link to this below if you're one that likes Now Foods like I do. I really like their oils. I know there's some controversy over that, but I have seen, I've really had no issues with them. And a side-by-side comparison to Young Living, which is the other oils I have, I found no difference. I found these to be just as good. They work just as well, and they have a better price. And I personally just feel better about them. But that's just me. We all kind of have our things. I know I got a lot of good recommendations for some other ones by Mountain Rose that I still have yet to try, and the Eden Garden, I don't know, there were some other really good sounding ones that a lot of people liked. So anyway, just find what works for you. I don't think it should be a big controversy. I think you just look into the company, do the best you can, learn what you can, and then find the ones you like the best and you feel the best about. So for me, it's Now Foods is just my favorite so far. Maybe one of these days I'll jump in and try some of these other ones, but anyway, so I never did finish saying what I'm making. I'm making peppermint patty chocolate bark today. And what I'm doing with this, I'll go ahead and link to that video up here where I show how I make it like little patties. But today I'm keeping it simple. I'm making it a bark, and I don't even do separate layers when I'm doing it this way. Just if I'm just wanting it simple. If I want it to look nice and I'm giving it as a gift, I'll do it in the little cups and do the separate layers. When I'm doing it just like this for us as a treat, I just do one layer. I put everything all together in the one pot and then put it into my buttered pie pan, and that's the simplest way to do it if you're just wanting a stack for you. But again, check out that video if you're wanting something to, make it look a little nicer for giving as a gift, which is what I did when I made the peanut butter cups for my oldest son for his birthday. I made them in the little cups and did it in the double layer, and he really liked that. I got these really great glass dishes. They're actually came with a yogurt maker that was made in the 70s, and from a friend of mine. She was just kind of downsizing some of her stuff. And I love glass for storing food in. I have some snap lock containers that I highly recommend because I use those in the freezer quite a bit. But these would be great for something where you have just a little bit of leftovers or whatever you're just going to stick in the fridge and use up in a, rather quickly. The lids fit in there just like that. I just thought they were neat. So I got 4 of them here. So I thought that would be very cool. Oh yeah, and then on the chocolate, today I'm going to use the Meyenberg goat milk. Even though I do highly recommend the other powdered milk, the one that comes in the Mylar bag is actually probably my favorite now because it does have a taste that's almost as good as the Hoosier Hill Farms, which is excellent, but the price is better. And you can get it on Subscribe and save even more. So I'll link to that and to the Meyenberg goat milk below. I find those both work really good in the chocolates where I use a powdered milk for making them, such as the peppermint patty or the like the orange cream or raspberry cream chocolates. And you can find those videos as well. I'm not going to link to them up here because I'm going to run out of room, but if you go watch the peppermint patty one, I do link to some of these other ones in there. Okay, well, I guess that's that for the this and that for today. Hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.